Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our new videos. In the 1930s in Los Angeles, an ostrich-drawn vehicle stopped by a police officer was one of the intriguing details of the era. During these years, Los Angeles was undergoing a major transformation with the rapid growth of the film industry, and this change was affecting every aspect of city life. Charles Ebbets is the photographer behind the famous 1932 photo taken during the construction of Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. This image, showing workers casually sitting on a steel beam while eating lunch atop a skyscraper, provides a unique perspective that highlights both the challenges and serenity amid the risks of large urban construction projects. Charles C. Ebbets' image has become an iconic symbol of the strength and determination of American workers. In 1956, Thomas Fitzpatrick made a perfect landing on one of Manhattan's narrow streets with a small plane he had stolen from New Jersey, despite being drunk. This wild event became memorable for both his skillful landing in the city and his audacity to steal the plane. 2 years later, when someone questioned this incredible story, Fitzpatrick took to the skies once again under the same conditions, dispelling any doubts. In 1953, two members of Bertram Mills Circus walked face-to-face on Hammersmith Broadway in London. One of the UK's most famous circuses, Bertram Mills Circus was known for its high-quality performances, appealing to large audiences. The circus, founded by Bertram Mills in 1920, had become a popular entertainment source in London and other cities. By 1953, it continued to offer great entertainment with its acrobats, clowns, animal trainers, and other circus performers. In 1956, animals used in medical treatment were photographed. The picture shows 3-year-old Peggy Kennedy watching ducklings swim in a bathtub while using a plastic chest respirator. Polio was a serious disease in the 1950s, affecting many children and leading to paralysis and breathing difficulties. Using animals in medical treatments was seen as an innovative approach to support patients' emotional well-being. In the 1940s, a housewife is taking frozen laundry off the clothesline. In the 1800s, pit bulls were known as nanny dogs because of their protective behavior around children. Families relied on these dogs' loyal and watchful nature to help care for their kids. Pit bulls could form deep bonds with family members, especially children, and were known not only as effective guardians, but also as loving companions. They became an indispensable part of families, offering both security and affection. In 1937, two women in Toronto took a bold step for the time by walking around a public space with bare legs for the first time. In earlier years, women were required to wear clothing that covered nearly their entire bodies. Although more revealing fashion styles began to emerge in the 1920s, society's acceptance of such attire was still very limited. A prototype spacesuit developed in the 1960s for NASA's Apollo program was part of a series of tests aimed at sending humans to the moon. Before the first lunar landings, the performance of these suits was thoroughly evaluated and tested using environments that mimicked harsh conditions on Earth, like the Mojave Desert. MGM's Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer famous Leo the Lion logo is known as one of the most recognizable symbols in the film industry. Throughout the 20th century, although various lions and changing recording techniques led to many versions, this symbol has always managed to preserve its iconic identity. Catherine Switzer made history in 1967 as the first woman to officially complete the Boston Marathon. At that time, women were banned from participating in the marathon, and efforts were made to stop her from running during the race. This event is recognized as a significant turning point that paved the way for women to participate in endurance sports traditionally dominated by men. In 1913, 10-year-old Sarah Rector received a 160-acre land allotment in Oklahoma. This allotment was part of land given to African Americans and Native Americans, but it was initially considered to have little commercial value. However, oil was later discovered on the land, making Sarah one of the first black millionaires in the United States. In the 1966 Boston Marathon, Bobby Gibb defied the rules that prohibited women from participating by running without an official race number. Successfully completing the 26.2-mile course, Gibb became a symbol of the movement advocating for women's inclusion in marathons and other sporting events. In 1945, during a mission to defeat Nazi Germany and end the Holocaust, the crew of the B-29 bomber Enola Gay played a pivotal role. This aircraft dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. The event is considered one of the most devastating moments in history, marking both the end of World War II and the beginning of the nuclear age, and played a critical role in Japan's surrender. In the 1970s, a photo was taken of two women walking down a street in Afghanistan. This period was before the Taliban came to power. In Afghanistan, particularly in cities like Kabul, was undergoing a modernization process where women had access to education and employment opportunities and were actively participating in public and social life. However, in the late 1990s, when the Taliban took control, they implemented harsh policies that severely restricted women's rights and freedoms. On September 3, 1967, Sweden experienced a historic day known as Dagen H, when the country switched its traffic flow from the left side of the road to the right. The primary goal of this significant change was to improve road safety and align better with neighboring countries that drove on the right. Despite challenges like complex sign and intersection adjustments, as well as new traffic rules, the transition was carefully planned and executed smoothly. Princess Diana, a member of the British royal family, broke protocol in the 1980s by participating in a mother's race at a sports event held at her son Prince William's school. This photo showcased Diana not only as a princess, but also highlighted her warm and personal style, often straying from the traditional norms of the royal family. This photo shows soldiers being treated in a military hospital during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919. This flu outbreak was one of the deadliest pandemics in modern history, affecting about 1/3 of the global population and leading to millions of deaths. The virus spread rapidly among soldiers due to the harsh and crowded conditions of World War I. The military hospitals in the photo played a crucial role in controlling the disease and treating those infected. In 1915, the wooden ship Endurance, trapped among the thick glaciers of Antarctica, was part of the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, led by Irish explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. This challenging mission aimed to cross Antarctica via the South Pole. However, the Endurance became trapped in the glaciers, making it impossible to continue the journey. The ship was lost and the crew had to survive for months under harsh conditions, living in temporary camps on the ice. Despite these extreme hardships, all members of the expedition managed to survive. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated with more interesting footage and stories. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content.